Are you a farmer or butcher ready to master direct-to-consumer marketing and meet success? Then you're in the right place. I'm Jared Aachen, the founder of ChopLocal. Each episode of this podcast features interviews with farmers and butchers who have built successful direct-to-consumer meat businesses, and they're going to share their secrets for success with you. From actionable tips to inspiring stories, this podcast has ingredients you will need to succeed in the meat business. After the show, be sure to subscribe, leave a review, and follow us on social. And check out the rest of our educational resources at ChopLocalUniversity.com. Now, let's turn it over to my business partner, Katie, to get started.
Here's our agenda today. We're going to do our regular welcome and team updates, farmers market email. We're going to talk about signing up for email lists, either at the farmers market, in person, online, all that kind of thing. And then Sean emailed kind of talking about inventory management. So I want to see what you guys do for inventory management and if you have some things to share too. And I went out of order here, but we also have a new Facebook group that I'm really excited about. So welcome. This is the official welcome. Team updates. Sierra and I were both traveling last week, so thank you for your patience if you emailed us. I don't have any other longer travel trips scheduled for the summer, so I should be around if you guys need anything. Quick update, if you haven't been to the website today, and I don't even know if Sierra's seen this yet, but we have a new header on the website now. Sierra, you and I have a little bit of work to do to finish configuring it. We need to look at some of these categories here and what we want, but we think it looks pretty nice. We also made it more obvious for people to enter their zip code here, and on mobile, it does that for them automatically. And so we're kind of excited about these changes that are happening on the ChopLocal website. So I think that that's it for me. Sierra is going on a road trip next week to take some photos and video at some different vendors. So we're very excited about that. So if you need anything from her, she will be on the road back at the hotel room in the evenings. Anything else, Sierra, that you want to add there?
No, this is the first time that we've kind of been able to plan a trip for me to go visit some vendors. And so I'm really excited. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to visit everyone, but I've got a few on my list that I'm super excited about. And hopefully we can do this again soon and I can be able to visit all of our vendors at some point. I know all of our vendors have really cool, unique operations. And so we'll see how next week goes, but I'm super excited about it. And hopefully it's something we can do in the future.
Yeah, I'm excited about it too. Sierra does such a good job with photography and video that I think this will get us a lot of really great farm scenes and food content and things like that that we can use a lot on social media. So,
what states are you going to, Sierra?
I am going to Iowa, up to Wisconsin, over to Michigan. I'm only going to be on the south side of Michigan, unfortunately. Although I would love to run up and see you guys because I know you guys have a really pretty farm, but I'm a little bit restricted on time there. And then I'm gonna.
It's a big state. This is not a selfish. This is a curiosity.
I just feel bad. I want everyone to be included. And then so I'm gonna go to the south part of Michigan, drop down to Ohio, and hit Dalton Farms, Lazy Creek, and then drop down to the north part of Kentucky. And then I'm gonna go home from there. So I'm gonna see a lot of country, and I'm super excited about it.
Yeah, Sierra's a trooper driving. I am not going to lie. I could not do a road trip like that, especially, I mean, she's coming from Western Kansas. So Western Kansas to Iowa to Wisconsin. And I could not do that on my own. I think I would lose my mind. But Sierra also hauls her horses halfway across the country. She just got back from a horse show. So she's got skills that I clearly do not. So
I don't mind being on the road. I just put on a podcast and I'm sure by the time I get home from next week, I'll be ready to not be on the road, but
yeah. Yeah, it'll be so great. I know when I've gotten a chance to meet our vendors, which I haven't even met very many of them, but it fills your cup. You know what I mean? So, yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Me too. I'm excited for you. All right. We were going to try to get Sierra to stop and take senior pictures for my son along the way, but he doesn't have his braces off yet. So at least, I mean, I guess it's good that we didn't have to try to scramble that into the schedule, but I don't know when I'm going to get senior pictures done. And that means I probably have to choose another photographer. So, yeah. All right. Let's talk email marketing, farmers market email signups specifically. Right now, a lot of you are selling in person, either at farmers markets or, I know Deb has an on-farm shop. I know Sean has a farm stand that's not manned all of the time. So we're going to talk a little bit about how you can gather those email addresses. So first thing we need to talk about is using a lead magnet. A lead is a customer or potential customer. The magnet attracts them to your email list. Okay. So a lot of times people will use a lead magnet that is valuable to the customer, but doesn't actually cost you anything except for the time to create it. So a lot of recommendations are like a guide that solves a problem related to your products, recipe booklet, a grilling guide. I think recipe booklets can be really valuable when you are selling something that is not something that everybody cooks every day. So I think of Elaine's Lamb, or if you are wanting to sell a quarter of beef, but people don't know what to do with the short ribs or something like that, then a recipe guide can be great. I think another one, I personally, my cooking style, I don't love to follow recipes. I don't like to measure things, I'll admit it. And I don't like to use a lot of ingredients. And so I tend to look for things that are more like, hey, learn how to do this in the kitchen and it's going to make your whole cooking life easier. And so like a guide to thawing frozen meat, or, a general grilling tips. Those are the types of things that me as a customer, that's what I would want, but that doesn't mean that that's what your customers want. Okay. A coupon. If it is somebody that is about to make a purchase, a coupon is probably one of the most effective ways to get them on your email list. And yes, it's going to cost you money because they're going to get a discount. But the idea is they're going to be on your email list and they're going to come back and purchase repeatedly. Okay. It could also be a trinket. I use the word trinket here. Swag would be another word for that. Something that has your logo on it that they are going to use, that is going to remind them of your farm. So like I've seen really cool, we should make some of these, by the way, Sierra, like a freezer magnet where you can write down the freezer inventory of what you have in your freezer with a dry erase marker. That would be a really great one. A meat thermometer that has your logo on it. I know we bought some of these a few years ago and I don't remember how many we bought, but I think they came out to about $6 a piece. So they're not super cheap, but they are super useful and valuable, at least to me. Even, again, maybe I'm not the best cook in the world, but I do use my meat thermometer religiously. Could also be, I've seen people do hot pads. It could just be a magnet with your information on it that they could stick on the fridge, or a magnet with a coupon code for next time, something like that. A giveaway. A lot of people use giveaways to build their email list. I would say use this with caution. Everybody will enter, almost anybody will enter a giveaway, whether or not they're really intending to purchase from you someday or not. So some people get really big email lists with people who entered a giveaway, but they aren't really the target customer that's actually going to purchase from them. But if you say, hey, you're purchasing from me at the farmer's market right now, if you go ahead and sign up for our email list, I will enter you into a giveaway at the end of the month. We're giving out a small bundle, or we're giving, a coupon or something like that. I really like that idea for current customers or for people who are right down at the end of the marketing funnel where they are about to buy from you. I don't like to use this. This is a commonly recommended strategy by a marketing class that's out there for selling beef. I do not like running ads to a giveaway because you're just going to attract people who want free meat. You're not actually attracting people who are planning to purchase from you. So, but I do like it for your existing customers. All right, so here's a couple more examples of lead magnets. Seven Sons, really big direct-to-consumer farm out in Indiana. Their lead magnet is a virtual farm tour. If you want to see more information about their farm, you sign up for the email list. Now, I wouldn't say that that doesn't sound that exciting to most people. Most people won't sign up for their email list just to see the farm tour. But people who really care about where their food is coming from and want to purchase from a certain type of farm will. And that's how they make sure that their email list is full of people who are really their target customer that is interested in learning more about where their food is coming from. I already mentioned a recipe booklet. I don't know that that's, I mean, I think you need to get creative. You know, Deb sells mostly beef. So does Sean and Joe. Well, Sean sells a variety of products, but like just regular old beef recipes. I think a lot of people know what to do with them. But if it's real, I think it's more like make your steak turn out perfect every time. That is something that I might sign up for. Or, you know, like I said, if you've got, maybe it's a budget friendly recipe booklet, especially if you have pork that is a little bit more budget friendly than beef is lately, or you want to push people towards cuts of beef that aren't as expensive, because that's, if you're hearing from your customers that they want that, you know, that's an option too. Ideally, you have several of these and you rotate them, okay? Because what appeals to a customer right now, it may not appeal to the next customer, or it may be seasonal. And I want to point out, you can use these lead magnets online, obviously, or offline. So like we've been talking about the farmers markets or the farm stand, you can create a little sign, and I'm going to show you how to use a QR code for people to sign up. There's not really a right answer for what lead magnet works best, although a coupon is pretty good lead magnet almost every time. Okay, when you are creating an email sign up form, if you are creating this in Mailchimp, I know at least a couple of you on here use Mailchimp, and I'm going to go through some details on how to do that in Mailchimp. One thing to remember is that the fewer fields they have to enter, the better. So if you have email, name, what you're interested in, phone number, like people are going to stop and they're not going to fill that out. If it's just email, they are much more likely to fill it out. So 1 or 2 fields is ideal. Honestly, you don't really need their name that badly, so you don't even have to ask for that. Okay, so here are some sign-up forms. I know that this is small. Let me see if I can make it a little bit bigger. In Mailchimp, you can use what's called a landing page, and you can make a sign-up form that is specific to whatever lead magnet you want to use. Now, you also in Mailchimp have just a general email sign-up page, but you can't customize it as well to like a guide or whatever your lead magnet is, okay? So in Mailchimp, you can create a landing page to give them something specific in exchange for their subscription. You can even do this on the free version of Mailchimp, and Sierra or I can help you if this gets too technical for you. If you have the paid version of Mailchimp, then you can create a specific email that it sends them immediately with that guide or whatever. If you have the free version, I know this is really small, but this is a guide to how to sear meat the right way. They enter their email address and they enter the state and they hit sign up. And then right down here, you can see it says success, how, and then there's a link to the guide for how to sear your meats. I made it a little bit bigger here. So you don't have the ability to send them a specific email based on this, but they can get the link right there when it says success, okay? So this is definitely an option for a sign-up page for a specific lead magnet. If you are sending them an email, you can create your lead magnet in Canva. You can export it as a PDF. You want to flatten the PDF. And then in Mailchimp, you highlight the text, click link, and link to a file, and it will have you upload the file. You can also create a button like this one that says recipes, and you can link that button to a file also so that it is right there for them. There are other ways that we can share these lead magnets online. In Canva, you can actually go to share a public view link, and you can use that link instead, and then people can see it there. But this is a nice way to do a PDF, okay? If you are using social media to drive people to your email list. This is something that we do fairly regularly. Remember that less than 10% of people will see your social media post every time that you post. So put it in as once a month, you're going to say, hey, by the way, have you signed up for our email list? We send out farm updates, and it's a more reliable way than social media to keep up with what's going on at the farm. You can also boost these posts to your existing followers so that it will get in front of your existing followers. Those people who are already your followers, we've talked about the marketing funnel, they're partway down that funnel, even if they haven't purchased from you. And so they are more likely to sign up for your list. And then we always love to add a little urgency. We're, sign up for our email list now because we're sending out a 4th of July coupon later this week, or sign up for our email list this month and we're giving away a gift card in August 1st, something like that. And you can kind of do an email campaign, a social media campaign to build your email list that way. Your previous customers. So if you use Square for a point of sale and you've been able to collect email addresses, or even ChopLocal, you have email addresses through ChopLocal. Those people have not officially signed up for your email list, and so you are not supposed to put them into Mailchimp and start sending emails to them. The risk is there that if you do that and you have enough people in there that are a little salty about being added to the list, they may report you and your Mailchimp account can be shut down, or it can even just hurt your deliverability, meaning you're less likely to end up in the inbox. You're going to go to people's junk or their spam. So you really want to avoid getting those reports. Okay. So, but you can take those emails and you can invite those people to join your email list. And this is something that we do quite a bit when people are just launching email marketing. I showed you how I do it in Gmail. Okay. You send only one email to your previous customers. Take that email list from Square, from ChopLocal, wherever it is. And I send the email to myself. So to is to myself. And then in the BCC, I put 50 of my previous customers, not all of them, but 50. And I do this in chunks, like maybe one per day, so that it doesn't overwhelm my Gmail either. And I put in here the subject line, keep in touch. And I said, hi, thanks for your past and continued support of Althoff Family Farms. We recently launched an email newsletter full of recipes, farm updates, and deals. As a past customer, I thought you might want to subscribe to stay in touch. As a token of our appreciation, we'll send you a free recipe guide when you sign up. If you'd like to subscribe to our email newsletter, just reply to this email and let me know, or click here and sign up. And then when they click here, it would take them to a sign up page. Okay. This is one way to go to those previous customers who did not opt into the email list and go ahead and get them onto your email list so that going forward, they see the updates and they see things like that. I also probably should have included in here, let me find. Okay, if you use Mailchimp, we can also add a sign up to your ChopLocal storefront so that they can sign up. And if we have this connected, then when they get to the checkout, it asks them if they want to subscribe to emails. They can subscribe. If they click yes, then they are signing up for your email list and the ChopLocal email list. So that's a great option because that way, even if you never send anything, they're getting stuff from Sierra all the time. And if you want to come back and start sending something later on, you have that list started if they have done that. So Joe, that might be something for you to think about too, is let's just sign you up for Mailchimp on the free plan and get this started so that we could start collecting emails from your customers. Yeah. So if you have that list, and this will apply, I'm going to show you, if you have a paper sign up at the farmer's market too, where people write down email lists or email addresses, you can put those into an Excel file and you can upload it. You can also upload them one at a time and add them to your email list as well. Sierra and I can help you do that if you need more help with that too. Mailchimp, it was 2 summers ago, I think, that I taught a Mailchimp course. And some of these slides are from that course, but I realized that they have changed quite a few things in the last year or two, haven't they, Sierra? Like the forms are moving and things. So I was thinking as I was doing this morning that might be time to repeat that course. But okay, if you are in person at a farmer's market, the retail store event, we recommend having multiple signs with a QR code that links to the sign up, and also a good old-fashioned paper sign up form. So a lot of times people will put an email sign up at the checkout, but especially if you have a shop where you end up with people in line at checkout, or farmer's market where people end up and they're in a hurry, they may not want to do it at checkout because they feel like they need to move quickly for the next person in line. But if you have the sign elsewhere around the shop, or you have it, at other places in your farmer's market booth, they can kind of do it at their leisure without feeling so rushed. Okay. Also, verbally asking them at checkout is huge. They are more likely to say yes. Have you guys noticed? I don't know why I feel like shoe stores do this a lot. They don't even ask, do you want to sign up for our email list? They just say email address. And for a long time, I thought that I had to give it to them. You can just say no, thank you at a shoe store, by the way. But my point is, if you are checking them out and you say email address, they might give it to you. Okay. So definitely ask them. The lead magnet piece still applies here. If they hesitate, you can say, we send out, we let you know when we restock, we let you know when we have sales, we give you updates from the farm. And then an old-fashioned paper sign-up form. If you have that sign-up form at your checkout and they jot it down, take a look at it, see if you can read it, and ask them for clarification before they leave. Does that say Sean with a U or a W? You want to just take a glance at it if you have time, because otherwise you get back and you start to enter these email addresses and you have no idea what somebody wrote. So now, let's talk about QR codes, okay? I think people are using QR codes more reliably. I am still not a huge QR code. I don't like to scan QR codes. I don't know what it is about it. I just don't like to. But there are a lot of people out there that do it. You can create a QR code in the free version of Canva. Let me see if I can. Can I zoom in on here? I can. Okay. So if you go to Canva's apps and you type in QR code, there are going to be a ton of them that come up. I just used the very first one. Okay. I clicked on QR code and it says add a URL and we'll create a QR code for you to add to your design. So we have a Lamb Lovers lead magnet that I put in. Elaine is hearting this. Yes, we have a Lamb Lovers lead magnet because I don't know if you've noticed this, Elaine, but lamb is sometimes hard to sell, right? So we have a recipe guide and a cooking guide that we do use, and we kind of rotate that in and out from time to time. But we put in that URL to that sign up form that I made in Mailchimp. And I clicked generate code and it made me this guy, which then I can copy and paste and I can move around wherever I need it in my design. Okay. So we actually have, this is a free template that I created 2 or 3 years ago that has farmers market signage. These are 8.5 by 11. I made them relatively plain on a white background so that they don't take 4 tons of printer ink for you to print out every week. Okay. But you can put that QR code on a sign, slide it into one of those plastic picture frame things or a picture frame, put that QR code there, or just print these off and tape them to the poles of your booth or tape them around your shop, and they can sign up using this link. If you guys want these templates, we will send it out later. And this is the link down at the bottom. What's hidden there? That is the link for these templates. You cannot use them unless you change that QR code. Okay, you guys, if you try to use them with this QR code, it will probably take you to a ChopLocal sign up. I don't even know what it's linked to right now. Sierra, we should create a Canva page that says you need to change this QR code, and then we should link that QR code to that Canva page so that if people
Yeah, that's great.
yeah. Okay. There's also the sign up for email updates. Tip here, if you're using a paper form, make it big. Honestly, we might redo this and take out the name and just make a really big line for email, because if people have to cram their email into a small space, they're more likely to write sloppy and you're not going to read it. So maybe we should make that change and do that. But leave lots of space for them. And then in these templates, we also have some other signs that you can use at the farmer's market. And you can update these. You can put your logo in at the top and things like that. This is another tip from our friend Matt LaRue, that when you have signage that says we accept credit and debit cards, it increases your sales. People don't carry as much cash anymore. You can also have a sign that says we accept cash. Some people I feel like there's a little bit of a movement to using more cash instead of credit or debit cards, but just having those options for people often does increase your sales, letting them know. This QR code here that says order online and pick up at the farmer's market, this actually links to our regular website, I think. But there's a lot of cool things that you can do in Canva where you could create basically a page that links to your social media, that links to your online store, and you can even use that on Instagram. I'm thinking that this is what we used to have, but you can actually create a page kind of like this in Canva to send people to that would have, your social media links and things like that, and create a QR code. But that's beyond email marketing, so I need to stay on track here. Okay. I think that's the end of what I had for email. We already talked about importing. Let me see where my pages are here. Yep. Questions about email signups right now?
When you talked about, Katie, the order online for delivery at the farmer's market. So, we just started a farmer's market, with my additional availability. And I had a couple things ring true. One, I've got to get Square, because people were like, "Oh, you don't accept credit cards," and Venmo's not that popular, and so that's one. But the other one was people asking, "Well, do you have this?" No, I didn't bring that today, but let me know and I can bring it next time. Will that automatically, like on the ChopLocal page, automatically go to pick up at farmer's market, or?
Yep.
Okay.
So we can set you up, Sean, with pickup at farmer's market. We can also, if you're going to use Square, I can help you connect it to your ChopLocal store. So if they buy it at the farmer's market, it will come out of your ChopLocal inventory too. Okay.
Oh, that's
so
good. Okay.
Yeah, it doesn't completely solve your problem of your on-farm store, because it's, like if people come in there and they pay you, they take what they want out of the freezer, they pay you, you're still going to have some inventory, reconciliation, I think, but it will help a little bit. So is there a magic number of emails to send? Is one per month lame if we're just starting? As a team of one-ish in the communication side of my family, of two-ish family fun. No, one is okay. More is better. We really like a weekly cadence if you can do it, but one is okay. One really cool thing that Mailchimp offers right now for somebody like you, Elaine, is, let me see if I can, I don't think it will show me this screen until after I actually schedule it. So I'm going to have to schedule it and then cancel it. Don't let me forget to cancel it. Okay, guys, I'm going to schedule it for the 31st, just in case. I don't remember if this is a paid thing or not, but okay. Friday, July 31st. If I click schedule, let me make my screen bigger. Confirm scheduling email. All right. It is going to prompt me to resend it to non-openers. So you could just automatically send it. Elaine, this is a way to get a little bit more bang for your buck with only one email. And maybe you don't even want to do 3 days. Maybe you want to do a whole week. You can resend it to non-openers to try to get more people to see it. And you can just automatically schedule that resend there. Okay. So this is kind of a new feature that I really like for some things. Now, obviously, like the starting in 15 minutes email, I don't want it to send again in 3 days to people who didn't open it. But we do use it sometimes. Sometimes it tends to just turn itself on magically, and I don't know why it did that, because I try to hit the X when I don't want to. I think that's the way to avoid doing it. All right, now we're going to go ahead and pause this campaign right now. Pause. Unschedule. Finish later. Okay. So that, Elaine, like I said, more bang for your buck. The other thing, I have a client who we send a twice weekly email, but the bulk of the email is exactly the same. It's like her weekly specials. And I just write a couple lines for a new intro for the second. The second email is like the order deadline is today for these weekly specials. But a lot of times, like I'll just write a little like, hope you had a great week. We have some wonderful recipe, whatever, you know. So I wouldn't be too afraid of repeating the bulk of your email as well. And then just, you know, doing a different subject line or just a quick reminder that this is what's going on this month. I would, Elaine, especially for seasonal things related to lamb, I would try to do a monthly one. And you can schedule these way out in advance. So you can come in here and create drafts in the winter if you have time then, or whatever works for when you have time. You can create those drafts and then you can come back and edit them and finalize them when it's time to send them. For seasonal things, definitely send more than one. Ramp up to one a week in the 3 weeks before a lamb holiday, and even send a, you know, order deadline for this, that, or the other is today, and send them that reminder. That's a good question. And we didn't really get into email design, which is one of my favorite things to talk about, but I'm going to try not to talk for an entire hour straight here today. So other questions? Okay, so I know we talked about it with Joe. Deb, we've talked about it maybe before too. And Elaine, if you want help getting going, or Sean, any of you listening. So Sierra does weekly emails for a couple of our vendors. It's $199 a month for the weekly emails, so about $50 an email. She will work with you to find out like what you have going on, if you have a surplus of something and you really want to push that product, or if there is a holiday coming up or a special or an event, or you want to push people to the farmer's market. But also if you're like, I don't know, Sierra, just do whatever, like she will, you know, talk about summer grilling, and like she's really good at making it sound like it's coming from you and including everything that people need in it, and it's pretty efficient. That's why we're able to offer this at such a great rate, is because she's very efficient at getting these done as well. So let us know if you want to do that, or if you just need help kicking it off, or if you want, you know, a few templates in Mailchimp. That's the other thing, is once you create a template, you can, if you saw me real quick, I just clicked replicate. We do a lot of replicating previous emails and just editing them slightly because it makes it so much faster and more efficient. We also, in my old Mailchimp course, which I think most of you guys have access to on ChopLocal University, but if not, I can grant it to you. We talk about, I don't even know where it went, the brand kit. Setting up your brand kit in here so that it has your colors and your fonts, and that again makes things go more quickly, more smoothly as well. So okay, I could talk about email all day because I love it and I think it's super useful, really worth your time once you get going. So a couple other things though. Okay, so we recently got a new extension risk management grant. It is specifically for the Midwest region. So I'm sorry, Sean, that you are technically excluded from that. I need to see, I'm sure that Michigan is in the Midwest region here. It's the North Central is what they call it. Yes, Michigan is included in there. This grant is going to allow us to do some new webinars, but the big thing that we're really excited about is that it's going to offer one-on-one coaching to farmers selling direct to consumer if you're in that region. If you're not in that region, we might be able to figure something out, okay? You get 4 free sessions, and it can be with me, but we're also going to have Matt LaRue from Cornell, who talks a lot about meat pricing. He does a lot of farmers market stuff. He does a lot of bulk beef, I think is his expertise. And he's also really good at helping producers figure out cost of production. And he loves to teach producers how to use Excel. So if you need to learn how to use Excel, an hour or 2 with Matt doing Excel, he would love that. So that is an option. You guys kind of know where my expertise lies. I love email marketing. I love ads if you want to do ads. Also websites, social media. I don't think we technically put Sierra in there, but I would probably lean towards Sierra. Or the other person that is coming in to help us is few years ago, we did a couple of webinars with Victoria, the farm marketing mentor. She specializes in social media for farms. She is not doing that farm marketing mentor business as a focus anymore. She has her own, they have Highland cattle. They do a lot of agritourism. They do a lot of photo shoots with their mini cattle, and they have a pumpkin patch. So they do a lot of on farm, obviously fall type things. And so Victoria, social media, farmers market, agritourism, plus she's just like lights up a room. She's just, I know that's so cliche, but she's so enthusiastic and fun to work with and so supportive that Victoria is going to be one of our coaches too. And so I'm really excited about that. We're going to start out with webinars first before we launch the coaching to everybody. But if you are within this region or you're Sean, we could start the coaching early with you guys. We are currently hiring for somebody that's a little bit like Sydney that would help me manage all of this, manage the webinars, scheduling them, promoting them, that sort of thing. Okay. So if you see that out, that now hiring, that's what that is for. That's a part-time position that will help with this. The other piece of this is when we do our annual survey, we always ask, what else do you want to see ChopLocal offer? And people say one-on-one coaching, and they say a Facebook group. And so, and honestly, that's a plug. I know most of you take my surveys every year, but this is why we do them, is because then we have survey data to go to these grant fund, to get grant funding and say, farmers told us that they want this, and that is huge for the grant reviewers. So Facebook group, we launched a new Facebook group. It is called Farm to Consumer Meat Mastery. So far, the members are me and Victoria, and hopefully Sierra's joining right now because I invited her. You guys can search for this and you can join. It's the first time that I've managed a Facebook group in a really long time. And I will be honest, we're not doing a lot of fancy, like you have to answer questions to join yet. There may be settings that change eventually, but my goal here is really that you guys can use this as a way to interact with each other. And obviously Sierra and I and Victoria will pop in and talk about marketing or social media or things like that. But if you guys want to come in and talk about what kind of freezer storage are you using? I don't know much about freezer storage. Or, hey, I don't want to use styrofoam this winter. What kind of softs, what kind of more environmentally friendly coolers are you using? Or Sean's in New York just banned styrofoam for food containers now. So, I want you guys to be a resource for each other that way in things that you might have covered or worked with in your experience that I just don't have that experience for. So I would love to have you join the group and interact. That's the big thing. I am in some amazing Facebook groups, but the key to making them amazing is that the members are really interacting. And I've been hesitant to start this Facebook group. I'm kind of a Facebook group junkie, but I've been hesitant to start it because it's really hard to get it off the ground and going. And so I'm just asking you guys as a favor to help with that. Go in and introduce yourself and keep an eye on it and that sort of thing. So Questions about any of that? Okay. Inventory management. So Sean asked the other day, and this is a perfect example of Sean, if you want to go in the Facebook group and post this, so far there's not very many people to answer it, but
Okay.
or it's if you guys don't want to post it yourself and you want to ask me the question, I might post it in there to get conversation going. But Sean said inventory management has been really hard. He asked about doing just bundles online instead of the individual retail cuts. And I can tell you, I don't have a lot of great suggestions for inventory management, but I do know that the people who do only bundles online, the bundles typically don't do as well as the individual retail cuts. Now, the inventory management, that is a trade-off, and some people just decide, look, I can't handle the stress, literally, like I can't handle the logistics of the individual cuts. I have to do it this way or it's just not going to work for me. That's a trade-off that you guys have to decide for you. Sean's situation is now he has farmers market, which we can get Square hooked up to ChopLocal, so those two will connect. But then he also has a farm stand like on the farm that is not manned, right? And people just come in and they leave you cash or they Venmo you and they take what they need. Is that right?
That's right. And then I asked them to write down what they took when they pay cash for things, but that's a hit or miss. So the problem always comes up when I'm down to like just a few cuts of a certain cut, and somebody orders, or or here, what happened to me, I can't sell ton. Nobody buys ton, right? So I collected up to 9 ton in my freezer, right, to figure out how to sell it. I put it into a specific bundle and things like that. Well, lo and behold, I have one local customer that loves ton, but she's very indigent and has been a very loyal customer for a while. And I called her and I said, Mary, I've got a lot of tongue. If you'd like one or two, come over and, you can have it. I mean, you've been a good customer. So she did and took them all. And on that same week, I got an order for 4 tongue from Michigan. I'm like, ah. So unless I go out and count everything in the freezer, I'm not going to have an accurate inventory all the time.
Yeah. I mean, I do think that I've heard people that leave a little leeway, like they don't put their full inventory online for that reason.
Yeah.
But I'm curious to hear how you guys on the call handle it. Do you put your full inventory online? I know one farm said they kept like a separate ChopLocal freezer, that was their online inventory, and they would kind of move things back and forth as it got depleted.
My ultimate solution to the thing would be to get, and I've been looking at this, is trying to get a very large, like outdoor walk-in freezer and stuff, and then only stock the farm stand with small amounts at a time, so I have an idea. But right now I'm at, at the infrastructure, limited infrastructure problem right now on this. So, and that's my long-term goal is to do that. I mean, I in a lot of local farms up here will get, they bought themselves this beautiful glass front freezers and stuff like that, and they only keep 4 or 5 cuts of each one in there, and it's very lovely. And that, but when you're talking about getting one of those types of freezers, the costs go up through the roof, but it would solve the problem.
I have a suggestion. So we've been doing this for a while, and we sell primarily beef, ChopLocal and local. And what we found, and I've tried different things, but I have a paper and pen method. Very, I guess, just very primitive, but the paper and pen method is my Bible. So when I get new inventory in, I know exactly what I've got on my paper and pen method. Then I go in and I update my ChopLocal store, but I always leave leeway because we do sell bundles. And then, sometimes I just have people stop by and buy things. That way I know I'm not going to get caught with an order that I can't ship out or can't fulfill. But that has worked best for me. I also work with a processor who is very successful. They've been at it probably over 20 years. And I've spoke with the manager there, and she said she does paper and pen also. They've tried the fancy computers, but when everything's changing so much and you've got so many avenues, it gets really hard.
It's true. Between the bundles, the walk-ins, and ChopLocal, you have 3 avenues. Now I've got the farm stand. So now, I mean, it's farmers market. So now we got four avenues, and it's
But
like,
I would love to see what your paper and pen, like literally a picture of what that looks like how you organize it and how you update it without just having a bazillion scribbles on it. So
You would be very disappointed because it has a bazillion scribbles, but then I start fresh. One thing that has been a lifesaver for me, because I'm kind of a paper person. I mean, I use the computer too, but I have all these papers on clipboards. So if I keep things on clipboards, I won't lose them. And my inventory is always on bright colored paper because I'm constantly looking for it. So
at my last job at the Iowa Cattlemen's Association, we'll call it a request. It might have been a demand that our weekly staff meeting agenda be printed on colored paper, because we had an in-person, this was pre-COVID. So in-person staff meeting, and I used that agenda as kind of my to-do list. I took notes on it, and it had a lot of really important information for the week. And so I suggested that we print it. That's something I learned in teaching. If it's important, print it on colored paper because you're less likely to lose it. So
exactly. Yeah.
No, I really would. I think that would be really interesting to see how you have that set up, even if it does have all the scribbles, and how you manage it, because you have been doing this for a long time. So we all have something to learn from you. So the other question I have about freezers is, this is totally anecdotal, but we have a little grocery store in town. Their glass front freezers break all the time, and they have been replaced. And do you use those glass front freezers, Deb? Are they reliable, or is the grocery store in town just cursed?
I hope they're cursed, because I have a glass front freezer in our little farm store, and then in my friend's boutique. We bought 2 with our grants, and
Okay.
so far so good. So,
and you've had those 2 years now then?
2 years now. Yeah.
Okay. That's good to know. I tell you, I swear it's once a year that there is all freezer items are 50 cents at the Jewel Market. You should scroll through their social media and see it, because it is just an ongoing, repeated problem. So I hope yours are better too. Maybe it's because they have so many freezers that it's I don't know how that stuff works, but anyway. Okay, well, this was a good session, I think. If you guys have more questions about anything that we talked to, please reach out. Otherwise, we'll send out notes. We'll send a link to these templates so that you can use them at the farmers market if you want to. And if you need help with the sign-up forms or configuring anything in Mailchimp, let CRI know. We can count it towards your 4 free coaching sessions as part of the new grant. And yeah, I think that's it. Thank you guys for your patience in doing this a week late. Sean, Elaine, and Deb are on my list to send tape to. I have it packaged and addressed, and it's in my car. And now I just have to get to the post office before 11 a.m., which is not happening today, but hopefully is happening tomorrow. So you guys have been on a sticky note here for months, and I apologize. I'm not good at stuff that is not at my computer. That's when I'm focused, is at my computer. Well, somewhat focused, but I'll get it to you. It's coming. So.
all right.
Katie, in my package of tape, are there more postcards too for gathering feedback?
There are not, but I will. Might take me another month, but no. I will look in my box to see what I have for postcards and find an envelope that I can slip those into too. So
Perfect. I'm low on both, and I'm so excited because that means
Okay.
we've been doing shipments.
That's right. Good deal. All right. Okay. Thanks, everybody. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Yep. Bye-bye.
Thanks so much for tuning in to Meat Success. We hope this episode gave you fresh insights and inspiration to beef up your meat marketing. If you enjoyed the show, don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, follow us on social, and share with your fellow farmers and butchers. Have questions or ideas for future podcasts? Reach out to ChopLocalUniversity.com. Until next time, remember, there's more than one recipe for meat success.